This gorgeous looking electric bike is made by Ado, has reasonable price tag and might be the best city electric bike for less than $1,500 ever. But is it? Let's inspect. Yeah, this feels really smooth. And great to meet you on the channel. I'm Michael, the Tech Mishka. Over here we inspect a lot of cool and interesting tech, and that's a new city electric bike with pretty awesome design, step-through frame, and a lot of good components by the company called Ado, which in my opinion happens to be the only Chinese brand which has a well-developed repair center network across the globe. They have decent software development so that you can control most of the things about a bike through a smartphone app and actually pay attention to what their customers need. And this is why it happens to be my favorite Chinese e-bike brand, and maybe that's why sometimes when I review their e-bikes I'm a bit more peppery, because I see a lot of potential there, and I think they did deliver something awesome with the A28 Air, and I think it's time to find out about its strong, its weak sides, the overall performance, and whether that's the right fit for you. Let's go! The price is definitely one of the reasons why A28 Air should be on your shortlist. It even often gets discounted down to $1,400, sometimes even less if you have the right coupon code, and you can check the video description for more information. This sounds like a sweet spot for such kind of electric bike with so many extras and a nice looking design. There of course are a lot of alternatives, most of which are either a lot more expensive or not that polished as the Ado Air 28 is. The unboxing experience is on par with the expectations. The bike is well packed, arrives partially assembled, but there is some work to be done. The box is not that heavy, which is great, and with some smart tricks you can easily take the bike out even if you're on your own. To put everything together and get the bike riding ready, there are a few tasks to be completed, most of which don't really require advanced technical skills, but having some basic tech acumen would certainly help. The handlebar is perhaps the biggest challenge because you need to properly position everything. Just make sure you don't twist any cables and apply some force in order to properly tighten all the screws. Then install the front wheel. In order to do this, you have to remove the protective pad on the calipers, and I usually prefer to have the bike upside down for better convenience. Pedals installation, checking the tire pressure, recharging the battery, and we're all set. Well, in my case, I had to readjust both the front and the rear brakes, with the rear one still not being perfectly aligned. Concerning the build quality, it is superb. Well-thought design, solid construction, hidden cables for the brakes, exactly as good as a decent city bike should look like. There is no folding mechanism, so no weak points notable. We'll test more in order to confirm, of course. Specifications are quite promising as well. A 250 or 350 watt motor depending on the region, torque sensor for smooth and responsive acceleration. Ado claimed that the battery is with Samsung-made cells, expected range is up to 100 kilometers, 20-degree climbing angle capacity, IPX5 waterproof rating, 28-inch tires, hydraulic disc brakes and weight of 21.5 kilograms. This list with the specs, it draws a very beautiful picture because there is no component which is weak or disappointing. Quite the opposite. As a starter, there are two versions. The EU version, which I have over here, which has a motor with 37 Newton meters of power. It's 250 watt motor, fully compliant with all the EU regulations. And there's an international version, 350 watts, 42 Newton meters. And because I have both, I can tell you that performance is very comparable, acceleration is pleasing, so you wouldn't notice too much of a difference. The major one is though that the international version has cabling for an additional throttle lever, which is forbidden here in the EU, and I'm happy that everything on this bike is fully compliant, no cheating applied. The frame, beautiful. I think the paintwork is amazing, very thick layer of paint, unusual for this price point, and it's a step-through frame. Very convenient, kind of gets time to get used to, especially if you're coming from another type of electric bike. There is no derailleur to complain about because that's a carbon belt with kind of close to 30,000 kilometers warranty, meaning that I don't think you will ever have to service it in your life. And the big benefits, there would be no oily stains on your trousers, on your shoes or socks. So that's really amazing, and also keeps the overall weight a bit lower. As for the battery, it's not inside the frame, it is here in the seat post. Samsung made cells, therefore I expect very good battery performance, and you can entirely detach the seat and charge it separately. So there are a bunch of other tests that I have prepared for you, like about the motor, the range, the front suspension, and everything that really matters about the A28 Air, so let's keep on going. As a starter, what most people will likely be concerned about, acceleration, especially for the CE version model, which is based on the 250-watt motor. If you're stressed about it, I'd say relax. It accelerates fairly well. And I won't trick you into saying that it is as powerful as the Bosch mid-drive motors, because it's not, but you get decent support and it feels quite comfy going up hills. After hundreds of kilometers that I made with the smaller A20 Air, I can confirm that it is not the most convenient bike for hilly areas, especially when you need to start pedaling. It requires a serious effort, but it is close to perfection about terrains where you can maintain speeds between 15 and 25 km per hour, which is, in my opinion, the sweet spot for this combination between motor and the size of the crank. Because here we have a belt drive, there are no mechanical gears, therefore Ado have deployed whatever they believe is the best balance. Acceleration from 0 to 25 km per hour is really fast, and because there is a torque sensor, it responds immediately. Even at still stand, when I keep my leg on the pedal, I can sense that it already responds. Concerning the range per battery charge, my estimations are a bit off the promised maximums, because all the variables are far away from the ideal conditions. With my backpack, I weigh around 90 kilos. It's close to winter time in here and temperatures are fairly low. I mostly rely on the third speed setting because it's most fun, and often go uphill and downhill. So my first cycles capped at around 50 kilometers. In Mode 2 I noticed that on a flat road I got around 6 to 7% for 5 kilometers distance, so it might be that you can go up to 70, maybe 80 in certain conditions, which for an e-bike with such a modest battery capacity is a fairly good achievement. Plus, it recharges fairly quickly, within 4 to 6 hours, and as we discussed, you can entirely detach the seats. This time around, Ado bring in proper safety precautions. There's a factory-made lock mechanism so that no one can steal just the seat with the battery. Speaking of safety, braking is a delight. Disc hydraulic brakes are the best option, and they're in place with the A28 Air. In case you're not that much into bikes, having disc brakes is good, having hydraulic disc brakes is a bliss, and a lot more effective, of course. Ado are, in my opinion, trendsetters when it comes to safety, especially about bikes made in China, so definitely well done. The 28-inch tires are somewhat unusual. They used to be a trend a few years ago, and now mostly city bikes are being equipped with such. Together with the front fork, they contribute to the smooth riding experience. And this fork is rather basic, just around 80 mm of travel. Comes with lock option and rebound control. Ado say nothing about servicing it, though. And of course, last but not least, the display and all the controls on the handlebar. The display is quite good, bright and vivid, well, not perfectly visible in a very bright day, but it is usable at least. Some advanced controls are available as well from within the smartphone app, 3 modes of pedal assistance and Gear 0, which lets you ride Ado A20 Air as a conventional bike. I guess this is the option which best improves your health and stamina, but the least fun. The buttons are positioned on the left side. If you press and hold the top one, it lights up the front torch, which somewhat reminds me of WALL-E. The rear one is manually controlled. I mean, it's a separate module backed by a battery. A bit of inconvenience, apparently. And since we just switched to the list with the drawbacks, I'd add the lack of mechanical gears. Would be nice for people living in hilly areas. The lack of frame size choices also belongs here. But that's all I can think of right now. Let me put things like that. The bike that I ride the most in the city is the Ado Air 20 that I have reviewed a few months ago. And I think this speaks enough about how much I trust and value the quality that Ado as a brand provides for their electric bike. So if you wonder whether I'm recommending the A28, I not only recommend it, I believe this is the best electric bike that Ado has ever manufactured and designed. And it has amazing components, excellent performance, a decent range, and a value pack that is currently unbeatable at this price point, especially if you're looking for something which is fully compliant with the regulations in your country. So yeah, I think it's a good catch, pretty well done. If you have experience with it, please do share in the comment section below the video. If you want to buy it with possibly a discount and a coupon code, I've placed some more information in the video description area. And that's been everything about today's review. Hopefully useful. If that's the case, I think you can give us a like, sub to the channel for more cool tech inspections, and I, Michael, wish you a fantastic day, ride safely and responsibly, and I'll see you in the next one.